Hey YouTube loves, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to see you here again this week. I have so much information to share with you. I brought lots of notes, so hang in there with me. I just don't want to miss anything important to share with you. If you recall, last week we started in our series on God's perfect size, and we're tackling that heavy topic of food addiction. So if that's an area you struggle with, or it's an area that you know someone who struggles with it, stay tuned. I forgot where I was. Okay, so this week we're going to tackle chapter 2 together, and I've entitled it Ground Zero. Before we get started, I want you to take a look over here. So you should know I have 2 children, and these are not weapons. These are, I don't even know, I think they're their squirters that they take to the pool. But that's what's happening in the background. And on any given day when I'm taping, you may see strange things. And we're just gonna pin it on the children because chances are it's them. All right, let's jump right in. I do want you to know I'm not a doctor. I do not have a medical degree. I do not plan to pursue one. That is not a good time for me, but it is for all my fellow doctors out there. Yay. I'm done with school. So I'll keep learning in life, but do I want to go back to become a medical doctor? No. So anything I share with you cannot be, I do not want you to use it as medical advice. I just want to share information and share things that I'm personally going through, just in case you have those same issues and we can learn from each other's. This is just an exchange of conversation, has nothing to do with medical advice. So let's jump right in. Ground zero. I brought my handy dandy notes just so I can make sure I share everything I want to with you. I want to talk about understanding food addiction. And this is something that I struggled with for the longest time. I had no idea really what food addiction was. I knew I liked food. I knew I liked pizza and hot wings, and I still like all of those things. But food addiction actually, for me, had very little to do with the food, and it had more to do with my obedience. And what do I mean by that? Let me break it down for you. Food addiction in and of itself, the food tastes great. It's only on your lips for a minute, and it lingers on your hips much longer. But in reality, if you want to come out of food addiction, or if you are a food addict, it has to do with your obedience. It has to do with that thing being able to call you and direct you and yank you around without mercy. And that's exactly what it is. So how does one start to change that? It's about obedience. You know, we're marketed all these diet pills and these special meals, and if you eat enough kale, you'll magically be slim, only to find that a few weeks or a few months later, after you've turned green and you've eaten more kale than you could ever imagine, that it comes back raging, and one pizza or one pan of brownies can set you over the edge. And that's because it really has little to do with the food. So in order to start to make effective changes, you've got to pray, and then you've got to start listening for the voice of God. For me, every time I sat down at a meal, I tried to listen before I ate. Did I do it perfectly in the beginning? No, I actually looked a lot like a baby learning to walk. Some meals I'd be on point. Other meals I'd stumble and fall, and I would eat half the plate before I even looked up to pray. And so it took a lot of practice and a lot of time. But the more I did it, the more I became attuned to God's voice telling me, eat that, don't eat that. Put that down or you're finished now. And there were times when I would have a tantrum, a full-on 2-3-year-old tantrum, because God was messing with my first love. He was touching my food, and I did not want that to happen. But I stuck with him, and I cried through parts of it, and I learned to listen for his voice. And it wasn't an audible voice, it was just an impression in my heart, and I started to feel him saying, you've had enough, step away from the table. And that's when everything started to shift for me. You might wonder what that timeline looked like. Truthfully, it's still going on to this day. There are people who come out of addiction and they are okay. You know, they get healed, somebody smacks them on the head and they come to their senses and they're fine. For me, it's an everyday journey, and it's an everyday privilege to be able to pray and seek God and hear his voice and to know that he's a very present help for me. So what I share with you is, if you are struggling in this area, let the food manipulation go just for a little bit. You know, whatever you have in the house, just eat. Don't buy any special groceries yet, because that's going to come later on, because he will take away some of those brownies and he will eventually limit you on that pizza and those hot wings. But first, learn to hear his voice. First, practice. Just practice in prayer, practice listening, and practice obedience in every way. Maybe you get stronger in it. It's like a muscle. So maybe you don't hear him immediately in the food, but maybe you hear him with your spouse and he says, don't say that to him, or don't say that to her. And you have to back up and close your mouth for a second. Practice obedience in that moment, because that moment is going to transfer to other moments in your life, and it's going to be a building of your muscle of obedience. So practice that. Let that carry you for the rest of this week, and learn to hear the Master's voice, and let him baby step you your way back to health. That's all I have to share with you right now. I look forward to another meeting next week. So I'll be here. I can't say same place. I can say same place, but I can't say same time. But I will come back to you and share some more information. I have so much to give you. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the like button, come back and see me, and I will share as much with you as I can. This topic is my heart, and it's my life, and it's my prayer for all of those who struggle. If you hurt as much as I did in food addiction, then you found a home and you're in the right place. So hang in there with me and we'll walk through this together. I pray that God be with you and bless you and give you peace. See ya.